To this point in their book, the authors of How Learning Works have addressed how prior knowledge, the way knowledge is organized, motivation, and mastery development impact learning. In the 5th chapter of their book, the conversation focuses on practice and feedback, with practice being a student-centric element of learning and feedback being an instructor-centric element of teaching. That brings us to the principle associated with this chapter. Goal-directed practice, coupled with targeted feedback, are critical to learning. In How Learning Works, practice is defined as any activity in which students engage their knowledge or skills, such as participating in a mock diagnosis or dissecting a cadaver. Conversely, feedback is defined as information given to students about their performance that guides future behavior. The authors note that the full potential of practice and feedback cannot be realized unless practice and feedback are effectively combined. As the authors show in Figure 5.1, the cycle of practice and feedback, practice leads to observed performance, which in turn allows for targeted feedback. The cycle continues when students use targeted feedback to guide further practice. Importantly, the driving force for the cycle of practice and feedback are goals. Goals direct student behavior as a means to guide practice. Similarly, for instructors, goals help you evaluate students' performance via observation. Finally, goals allow instructors to provide targeted feedback that helps students make more effective progress towards the goal during subsequent practice attempts. Research has shown that learning and performance are best fostered when students engage in practice that focuses on a specific goal or criterion for performance, targets an appropriate level of challenge relative to the student's current performance, and is of sufficient quantity and frequency to meet the performance criteria. Since giving students increasingly more time and opportunities to practice reaches a point of impracticality relatively quickly, focus instead on making practice time and opportunities more efficient. You can do this by focusing students' efforts on what they need to learn, as opposed to what they already know or may be comfortable doing, and set goals for performance at a reasonable and productive level of challenge. Anything that is too easy or too difficult will have diminishing value. Goal-directed practice must be coordinated with targeted feedback in order to promote the greatest learning gains. The purpose of feedback is to help learners achieve a desired level of performance. Effective feedback can tell learners what they are or are not understanding, where their performance is going well or going poorly, and how they should direct their subsequent efforts. Research points to 2 main features of feedback that help make students' learning more effective and efficient, those being content and timing. Feedback is most effective when it explicitly communicates to students about some specific aspects of their performance relative to the target criteria, and when it provides information that helps students progress toward meeting those criteria. Similarly, just as the content of feedback is important, so too is the timing of feedback. Timing involves both how soon feedback is provided and how frequently feedback is provided. Generally, earlier and frequent feedback is preferred. Consider yours and your students' goals and tailor your feedback in a manner that best supports those learning goals. To conclude their chapter, the authors of How Learning Works provide several strategies aimed at improving goal-directed practice and targeted feedback. As you can see, there are many strategies for improving goal-directed practice and for providing feedback aimed at improving student performance. Take stock of which strategies you may already implement and which strategies you could more frequently incorporate into your teaching. Challenge yourself to incorporate at least one new strategy from each list into your teaching over the next term and assess how well or not that strategy worked for you and your students.